Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a week, a little bit over a week since I posted anything. But we back today. But if you're tuning in, this is definitely for you. I don't believe that I had this dream and I had this great conviction to post this video before I even walked out of my house today to go to work. So I had to share it, and I hope it touches exactly. I know that it's going to speak to a very specific person or people. So I want to just talk about my dream really quickly, and I did write down notes. So if I pick up my notepad and I read off the notes, y'all just bear with me. I don't want to miss anything. But the dream that I had, you guys, was a crazy dream. I've been having a lot of dreams lately. I've always been a dreamer since I was a young child. Like, I be having these long, very detailed, very drawn out dreams. And I know for a lot of people, it's not that common for them to remember their dreams or very much the details of their dreams. And so a lot of times when I have dreams, I'm either watching things happen or I'm actually living and participating in the dream, but cannot speak, right? I never speak in my dreams, but it's like me witnessing a lot. This particular dream last night, I feel like it was a powerful dream because there were so many symbolisms there. So let's just hop right into it because we got to make sure we on time today, but we're going to do the Lord's work first, okay? So I was, it started off where, just like when you back in your club days, if you was ever going out with your friends, me and my friends, we were out for a night out with the girls or whatever. And the people that I was with, we all knew it was like these two people in the group that were a little bit on the troublemaker side, where they would, let the alcohol take them to different places and they be wilding out. You always have that one friend in your friend group who be either the life of the party or they be doing too much. They don't know their limits. So it was two of them. And so at that time, we were leaving, walking back to our cars. You walk back to your cars in groups, right? And so we were walking back to our car, and there were two people with me, right? And the two people that were with me, walking back to my car, we got to where my car was, which was kind of like in an alleyway, kind of like a parking lot. It was dark outside, and my car was getting repoed. It was like getting on the tow truck. They were put on a tow truck and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Please don't take my car. I have the money. I could pay you guys. But there was nothing that I could do or say in that moment to stop what was happening. They were taking my car. Didn't matter what I was saying, but it was like brought to me like, we could take you back. You can talk to them, Nothing I could do about that. Out of my hands, right? And so then I ended up being in a waiting room. So what I thought, I was in a waiting room so that I could pay whatever I had to pay so that I could get my car back. So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting in the waiting room. The waiting room looks like a doctor's office almost. I noticed that there was like two other guys in there that were like friends of my ex. And we looked at each other and we just act like we didn't even know each other, but we knew each other. And so the waiting room, the friends that I was with were no longer there. It was just me. And the other people that I remember, they were very familiar. Looked like they just came out from a night out too. And they were actually like watching the TV, and on the TV what they was watching was like a music video. But I'm sitting here and I'm just waiting to get my car back, The room was very well lit, very white, like a very clean doctor's office, right? And so then, it's my time to get up and go to the back. So I get up and I go to the back, but now I'm in this large, what would be like a delivery room. And I'm sitting down in this delivery room, and in front of me are 4 different women giving birth, are getting ready to give birth, and then there's a doctor. So the doctor is a male. The doctor then, he seemed like he's like a very nice guy. He's trying to lively up the room, making jokes here, making jokes there. And one of the women giving birth is his wife. So he makes more jokes with her, but one of the jokes he makes is very, very like a little touchy between them two. You could tell she was like embarrassed that he made a joke. And at that point, it was like we knew each other, because she looked at me and she was embarrassed that he made a joke about her, as if me and him were colleagues, like we worked together. And she looked at me and she was like, I'm never going, like if we were going to have like work outings or you could bring your family just or whatever, she looked at him like, I'm never going there again. As if we worked together. He made a joke that went a little bit too far. She was mad at him and she was embarrassed, and she did not want to be seen with none of his coworkers, right? And so he laughs it off, but she's like upset. You know how sometimes your man, he may go a little bit too far and you like, I'm so annoyed, but they're still like laughing. That was the vibe. And so then I looked down. So it went from like them being not far away, but them, me witnessing everybody in their hospital gowns, legs up, getting ready to give birth. But then all of a sudden after that happened, I looked down and I don't see anyone's like private areas, but all of a sudden there were diagrams up. So if you've been in a biology class or you've been in health school, science, whatever, you see little diagrams of circles. So the diagrams that I was seeing it was 4 diagrams set up right in front of each woman with their legs up. And it showed how much they were dilated. So it had the circles with the little dotted line showing how much each woman was dilated. And the dilation range was 1, then it was 4, and it was 8, and it was 10. Okay. And those are the different stages, right? And then I woke up. So I was like, well, that was a crazy dream. How I get from all over the place, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going about my morning and I'm just like, you know what, Lord, if there is something that you want me to get out of this, just let me know. He's like, grab a pen and a paper, write down everything that you can remember that's of significance, and I need you to look at these things. So I'm talking to the Lord, and then as I'm moving around and getting ready for the day, he just starts to reveal things to me. And the first thing he says is, what you think is meant to destroy you, what you think is set out to stop you in your tracks is not always a trick of the enemy. It is not always something meant to destroy you. Sometimes things happen that are out of your will, things that are of my will, meaning God, that I'm using to stop you in your tracks. And there's nothing that you can do that is going to stop it. He's saying that when certain things happen and it looks like, oh, the enemy is up against me, or he's trying to do this, that, or the other, boo, 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 and God is saying, no, sometimes it's me, because I need you to stop. Okay. And that's what happened. I was in a situation where my car was getting repoed. It was late at night. There was nothing that I could do to fix the situation in that moment. Right. And so what God is telling me, and then after that, I immediately went into a waiting room, and he was revealing to me, like, you are in a waiting season. There's nothing, again, that you can do to change the situation. This is where God is going to begin to build your faith. you are going to begin to have more wisdom. You're going to begin to have more discernment. Things are going to start happening around you. Small little things like maybe you should have helped somebody. Maybe you going through a drive-through and somebody asking you for some change and you like, nah. And I'll give you a quick example. The other day, I did go to Jack in the Box. So I was like, let me go get me a coffee real quick. It was a long line, so I pulled up. I'm going to just go in and get me a coffee. It ain't going to take that long. They're probably going to give it to me real quick. I don't got to wait for this long line, but the door was closed. This woman walked up to me and she was like, what time do they open? Are they open? Da, da, da. And I was like, no, they're not open. They don't open till 9. And she's like, well, could you give me a teriyaki bowl? And I'm sitting there in judgment in that moment, looking at her like, you got all these bags in your hand like you just went shopping at the drugstore right there. Like, I'm not about to go buy you a teriyaki bowl. I was like, maybe I can. I'm just gonna go to the store real quick. That's what I said. But in my mind, I was being very judgmental. As soon as I came out the store and I got in my car, I was like, it made sense. She was an older lady, although she wasn't that old, but she had all these shopping bags, and I'm thinking like she wants somebody to buy her something, but really they're closed. You cannot go in. The only thing that's open is a drive-through. And she saw me get out of my car. So what she was wanting was for me to go through the drive-through for her. Not necessarily, she may not have wanted me to buy it for her, like with the money. Like, she didn't need the money. She just needed someone to help her go through the drive-through. And the Lord convicted me in my spirit when I came out from, getting my stuff from the store next door, and I was getting back in my car. I said, oh my God, I probably should have helped her. Like, you're in a waiting season where things are going to start happening, and you're going to notice that the Lord is sharpening you. He's sharpening your mind. He's putting in front of you things that you need to pay attention to, like being more wise about your decisions, being more intentional about your actions, all of that. You're in a waiting room. You're in a waiting season where there's nothing that you can do to change your circumstances right now. You truly have to pray and give it to God. You truly have to lay it down at his feet. But you have to be in a place, and the Lord was ministering to me. He was telling me that. He was like, right now, the only thing that you have control over is your thoughts. You have control over what you say. You have control over what you do. But only I have control over the outcome. So don't take these things that are happening to you like they're happening against you. They're happening because I'm trying to bring to your attention that all of the decisions that you have made up until this point have caused the circumstances that you're in. It wasn't anything that anybody did to you. It wasn't anything like that. And I'm only speaking, this is for who it's for and not everybody. But there were decisions that you made, things that you did, and that's the reason why you are where you are right now. And I need you to realize that. Okay, we go into the next part, y'all, but he's like, I need you to realize that. So as I'm sitting in this waiting room, he said, you're in the waiting room. But while you're in the waiting room, you're starting to realize why you're in the waiting room. In my dream, I was in the waiting room. I was like, I should have been paid that. I had the money. I should have paid it. Now I'm sitting here and I could have avoided this whole situation. That is what the Lord wants you to do right now. He wants you to be awakened. Because what he's about to do for you in the season that you're about to walk into, these things that you're learning, the character that's being built, the faith that's being built, everything that you are beginning to come into and gradually form into is what you're going to need to possess to move into the next season. Okay? And so many of us are in that stage right now, and we don't understand why, because we want to get up and we want to do everything, but there's nothing that you can do but sit and wait on the Lord. And so after that, like I said, I went into the doctor's room, and many times in dreams, a doctor, a nurse could means healing, right? And so because this doctor was a male figure, I immediately had the revelation that that was God, and he was there to restore. He was there to heal. He was there to help you in a season where you were prepping to give birth to your promise. To your promise. And he was telling me, it doesn't matter. You're going to have so many options. There were 4 women in front of me. You're going to have so many options that are coming to you. And it doesn't matter which option you take or which road you take. It's all going to lead up to the same ending. No matter where you go and how you give birth to this blessing, the Lord says it's all going to end up in the same and with the same ending. Because no matter where these women were and how they were dilated, they all, at the end of the day, were getting ready to give birth to something new, to God's blessing, to his promise. And it didn't matter if they were at stage 0, they were not dilated at all, where they were, I saw 1, 4, 8, and 10. It didn't matter what stage of birth they were at. They were all giving birth. Catch that. It doesn't matter what stage you are in your life right now. You are going to give birth to God's promise. Don't try to force it. None of these women were there trying to force their birth. Just think about it. If you're a woman and you've ever given birth to children, or you know the process that it takes to give birth, as a woman, you don't have control over when that baby is ready to come out. You don't have control over how that baby is birthed, where there's going to be an emergency C-section, or you're going to have to push the baby out, or the baby's breech. You have no control over the process of giving birth. The only thing that you can do is prepare for it. The only thing that you can do is prepare for every scenario. And sometimes you could think that you're so prepared and still not be prepared. Okay, I'm a mother of 2. So there were 2 times I've given birth and I was not prepared for any. So the only thing that you can do is prepare as much as you can. And that's what your waiting season does for you. It prepares you to give birth to your blessing. And the Lord is like, it's very important that you take your waiting season just as serious as the season you're going to take when he reveals to you, or he gives you his promises. He blesses you with opportunities. He blesses you with financial abundance. He blesses you with peace. Whatever it is, he's like, this season is very important, because no matter what, you're going to receive your blessing. You're going to receive his promise, because he will not let his promise come back to him void. He will not speak a thing to you and it won't happen. The difference is, either you can take this waiting season and you can get laser focused, and you can sit with the Lord, and you can do all the preparation you can, and make sure that when you receive this blessing, that you steward it the way he wants you to steward it, because it's not yours, it's his. Remember that. Then you will be in a better place. But if you don't learn, if you don't sit with him, if you don't realize that these blessings are his, even though he's giving them to you, they're his, and you don't sit with him, and you don't learn, and you don't take this waiting season serious, you can lose it. He's going to give it to you, but how are you going to steward it? And did you take away everything that you needed to take away from your waiting season, so that when you go into the season where doors are open? Because there has been many times where I've been in a waiting season and I have been blessed with things, but I've lost them just as quickly as I was blessed with them. So how are you going to handle it when you give birth? Because each scenario with those women being dilated at different parts of their lives, of their birthing process, they were all going to end in a birth. They were all going to have a child. So when the Lord was revealing these things to me, the one word that I kept hearing is yield, 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 yield to this, yield to that, yield this, yield that. And when I looked up the definition of yield, and I realized that it meant that we have to release possession, repossession. We have to release possession and release control and give it to God. We have to yield to his control. We have to understand that we are not in control of anything. There's not anything that we can do but to yield to him in his direction. Yield to him in his instruction. Yield to him in your decision making. Everything you do, yield to the Lord. Give yourself, give everything to the Lord. Okay? And be patient. Be patient and yield. Be patient and yield. If you're in your waiting season, be patient and yield. And understand that in this whole dream, it started and there were 3 different areas. For one, things were taken away from me that I had no control of stopping. Phase 2, I'm in my waiting season. I'm sitting in that waiting room and I'm realizing how I could have avoided this, how I could have changed things, how I could have made things different. The Lord is, convicting me in my spirit. He's giving me discernment and wisdom to know what I should do better next time. And then phase 3 is when, and I just thought about that, the divine order 3, if you know what 3 means, but in phase 3, he just revealed to me on the 3rd day he rose. Come on, y'all. On the 3rd day he rose. On the 3rd day he was given life again. I don't know who this is for. The Lord, Holy Spirit is speaking right now. On the 3rd phase, they were giving birth. This is life again for you. This is life. Who, Holy Spirit, speak? The life is going to be put back inside of you. You are going to feel like you are finally living life, but don't mess it up. Do not mishandle it, because it's going to happen. Don't mishandle it. Do not mishandle it. Remember everything that you learned in your waiting season, everything that you thought about, every idea that you had. And before you move, when he blesses you, you need to sit in that blessing. When the promise comes true for you, you need to sit in that and ask him, yield to him, have patience and ask him, yield to him, Lord, what do you want me to do with this? And I want to go back to my notes, but I can't, because the Lord is telling me, leave it at this. Remember, this is God's divine transition. Be patient and yield. I love y'all. Have a beautiful day. Bye.